Am I audible now? So please, Rishi, if you can confirm that is audible or not.
Ma'am, there's some noise in the background.
Alright.
Code is called, so we can mark the attendance and confirm that all is set. So, team TC0101, are you there?
Present.
Okay, thank you. TC0102,
Present.
thank you. TC
I'm present also.
TC0202,
Present.
okay. TC 0301,
Present.
this shortly. They are esteemed professionals and have been. Any other questions or queries? All right, now that everything is set, let's wait for the judges and we'll begin shortly. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I extend a warm welcome to all dignitaries, esteemed judges, respected council members, participants, and attendees joining us virtually for the MLRC-WICCI Elocution competition. This event is hosted by the Maharashtra Legal Rights Consortium under the aegis of National Legal Rights Consortium (WICCI). Our theme this year is pro-liberalization of medical termination of pregnancy in India seeks to stimulate informed, critical, and constitutional discourse on a subject at the confluence of law, healthcare, and gender justice. We are truly honored to have a distinguished panel of judges with us who embody the ideals of legal scholarship, advocacy, and social commitment. Ms. Purva Pillai, a lawyer, researcher, and a facilitator whose work is grounded in caste, criminalization, and gender. She examines the intersection of law and marginalization through storytelling, resistance, and is deep listening. We welcome you, ma'am. Now, Advocate Vedika Ramdani, ma'am, a litigation lawyer based in New Delhi. She brings rich experience from the criminal justice system and channels her legal insight towards systemic reform through WICCI NLRC. She's also a published poetess, blending the power of law and language to amplify marginalized voices. Welcome, ma'am. Now, the advocate Aishwarya ma'am, a Kerala-based advocate with a unique academic blend of computer applications and law. She specializes in criminal justice, administration, and women's laws addressing challenges involving technology and privacy and gender equity. Now, we welcome you, ma'am. Now, the rules for the preliminary round is time limit. Each team will have a maximum of 5 minutes to present. Time extension is at the sole discretion of the judges. The topic has been already disclosed. So, the topic is cultural taboos and their impact on women's access to safe abortions. Each team consists of two speakers, so they have been given a team code, just like TC0101. So 01 is their team name, and 01, the next 01 is the speaker. Now the judging criteria. So the judging criteria will be originality 30%, research 30%, structure and flow will be 20%, presentation skills 10%, time management 10%. The code of conduct will be maintain professionalism and respectful behavior throughout. Any form of disrespect, harassment, or use of any inappropriate language will not be tolerated. Adherence to the time limits and speaking order is mandatory. If there is any technical requirements that will not justify delays unless allowed by the organizers. Judges and organizers' decisions will be final and binding in all the matters. With all protocols stated and formalities complete, let us now begin the preliminary round of the competition. The topic has been shared with the participants and we are eager to hear their perspectives. Wishing all participants the very best, let your words reflect clarity, compassion, and conviction.
I request all the participants to please leave the meeting and join once informed on the WhatsApp group according to your team codes.
Hi, let me know when to begin.
I would like to ask if all the judges are ready. We'll begin with the rounds for TC01 in a few minutes once we have the timer set. TC01, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right. On the count of three, two, one, I request the moderator to please begin the timer as well, and we'll begin with the round. So three, two, one, go.
Hello, everyone. Girls don't talk like that. Girls don't eat like that. Girls don't talk that way. Don't do this or that. I'm pretty sure every woman has heard this one time or another in their lives. Other people dictating our choices. And to some extent, we've all been victims of psychological conditioning that our body is not ours alone. But bodily autonomy is the heart and soul of the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, also called MTP. Greetings to the honorable judges. I am Speaker 01 of TC01, talking on the topic cultural taboos and their impact on women's access to safe abortions. My first point is equality in defining the beneficiaries under the MTP Act. The artificial distinction between married and unmarried women cannot be sustained. It perpetuates the stereotype that only married women indulge in sexual activities. This is a quote from X versus Principal Health Secretary case of 2022. Premarital sexual activity continues to be perceived as morally transgressive in many parts of society, thereby deterring unmarried women from accessing safe abortion services due to the fear of social stigma and ostracism. This was the heart of the case that I just mentioned, X versus Principal Health Secretary. Though the Honorable Court in this case used very progressive interpretation and held that the true intention of the legislature and that unmarried women are also covered under the Act. But the stigma still prevails. The court held that replacing married woman or her husband, as the 1971 Act said, with any woman or partner in 2021 amendment shows the intent of the legislature to extend the scope of Section 3 to all women and pregnancies that occur outside the institution of marriage. But let us take another perspective. We talk about the right to equality given by Article 14, the part of the Golden Triangle. Then, how has a significant community of people who can get pregnant, such as the transgenders, left out of this beneficial legislation? Including married and unmarried women is definitely a step forward, but including all people who can get pregnant is the heart and soul of the MTP Act and true equality. The Supreme Court in Superior versus Union of India has already recognized the right of people of any sexual orientation to cohabit. The only natural inference that can be drawn is that all communities of people can get pregnant must be covered by the legislation. Ask yourself another question. How often have you seen an advertisement on safe abortions and access to abortions? And now how
Or insisting on identifications such as Aadhaar. MTP Act itself provides under Section 5A that no identities need to be disclosed during this kind of procedure, except to a person authorized by the law. This is not followed in real life. The problem is not the law, but with the people. Law on the paper is completely useless if the people is not implemented in real life. With due respect, I would like the judges for extension of a minute. Hello, am I audible?
you're not audible perfectly, your voice is breaking.
Your voice is breaking. I think your network has some issues.
Okay. I asked for extension of a minute with the due permission of the judges.
Sure.
Thank you. So another point is the barrier, that is the cultural taboos and social norms. A study was done recently in Bihar and Jharkhand, and it showed that unmarried women face greater barriers to timely abortion and desperately prioritize their confidentiality, afraid of the family members, neighbors, and the community gossips. So what does this show to us? That the cultural taboos are not harmless. They cost lives. They cost lives, and they create a societal stigma. They push women into unsafe abortion, untreated complication, enabling the choice. What we need to do, we need to break the silence by normalizing the conversations about abortion. We need to provide, we need to strengthen the sexual education to the young peoples, to the young ladies. We need to train the healthcare practitioners. We need to advocate for sensitive legal reforms. Because right on the paper mean little if silence and shame stand in the way. A safe abortion is not a sin, it's a choice, it's a healthcare, and it's a right. Let us build a society where no women must choose secrecy and danger over safety and dignity just to avoid cultural shame. With this note, I would like to end here. Thank you.
Thank you, PC01. You might leave the meeting, and I request the judges to mark the tail until the other team joins shortly. Thank you.
Thank you, judges. It was an honor speaking in front of you.
Thank you all.
Are both of the team members from PC02 available now?
Yes, we are there. You can start now.
All right. If the judges allow, should we begin? All right. On the count of three, two, one, go.
Good afternoon to everyone present. We are Team TC02 and we are honored to speak before you today. Let me begin with a question. What kills thousands of women every year? Yet, we barely talk about it. The answer is not disease, it's not a war, it's a silence. Silence driven by cultural taboos around abortion. Taboos so powerful, they stop women from seeking help, doctors from providing it, and societies from even acknowledging the crisis. The silence has a cost. In 2023 alone, 25 million unsafe abortions worldwide, leading to thousands of preventable deaths and countless complications. Why? Not because medical care is unavailable, but because cultural taboos, deeply ingrained beliefs, and societal norms stand firmly in the way. Imagine a world where a woman's access to essential healthcare is dictated not by her needs but by tradition, religion, or fear of social rejection. This is reality for millions of women around the globe. These taboos are not just abstract ideas, they are spoken and unspoken rules that shape everything from dinner table conversation to life or death medical decisions. And when it comes to abortion, they create an environment with shame, fear, and misinformation. Today, we want to explore how these taboos indirectly or directly affect women's access to a safe abortion, a basic human right and an essential part of reproductive health care. Social stigma. Let us start with stigma. Cultural taboos often label abortion as immoral, sinful, or selfish. Women who even consider it they are just as irresponsible no matter their situation. This leads to silence and isolation. Women keep ashamed to speak, afraid to seek help, or burdened by guilt. In many conservative communities, even mentioning the word abortion is taboo. Second is healthcare access. When abortion is taboo, it affects not just women but doctors, nurses, and entire healthcare system. Medical providers may refuse services, fear community backlash, or even believe they are morally wrong for helping. In rural or conservative areas, this often means no care at all. Even in countries like India, when abortion is legal, women don't know their rights or face judgmental, underserved, or victim providers. This leads to delay, bad information, and poor quality care, all because cultural taboos weigh professional ethics and patient rights. Over to you.
Good afternoon to respected judges, members of the organizing committee, and all my dear colleagues. Today, we stand before you to speak on a subject that is rarely discussed, yet it openly affects millions of women across the world, which is cultural taboos and their impact on women access to safe abortions. As my teammate rightly pointed out, the social stigma which has been attached to the practice of abortion due to the presence of cultural taboos, abortion is not
and told her that the daughter-in-law brought in bad luck. That is how our society treats an abortion to be. Doctors judge, your families interfere, and your society whispers. This is not healthcare. This is psychological violence. Cultural taboos always crush the most vulnerable people, like rural women who have no access or awareness, or teenage girls who are worried about being disowned by their family. Dalit women who are often ignored by healthcare systems, and poor women forced to go into unsafe procedures. According to Dutch Nature Institute, 13 women die every day because of unsafe abortion centers. That's nearly 5,000 women every year, not because they broke the law, but because the law could not break through the wall of shame. Legal rights are meaningless if society shames women for using them. If we truly care about women's life, we must change the culture. We must try to introduce comprehensive sex education in all schools and speak openly about abortions in homes, schools, and parliaments. Because abortion is not a moral failure, it's just a medical decision. Rights do not mean anything if they cannot be claimed without a fear. A woman's body is not a society's courtroom. When women ask for abortion, she's not asking for your permission, she's not asking for your pity, she's asking for her dignity. She's asking for a right to choose. Her cultural taboos may be old, but they're not sacred. Her body is not your battlefield. Her pain is not your punishment. And as a woman standing here today, and not just as a speaker, but as someone who lives in this particular set society, We have heard these movements. I fear these judgments as well. I plead with you. Let us not fail the next generation of these girls. To every woman judge here listening to me, you understand me to some extent, don't you? You know what it means to carry expectations like a weight, to navigate choices under watchful eyes. Let us use our voices to unburden theirs. Let us be the reason they no longer have to hide. Thank you.
And I will continue that. In many of the world, especially in the developed countries, abolition may be illegal on paper, but particularly resists because of the socialistic pressure. We often talk about gender equality, empowerment, and education of the women, but how we can achieve any of that when we cannot even women to take the decision about their own babies. Abolition is not a privilege. It is not a crime. It is a right to safety and right to dignity and right to choice. Yeah, cultural tobacco stop women to access the right when then those tobaccos must be questioned, challenged, and changed. According to World Health Organization, nearly 40% abolition and in the worldwide are unsafe, and most of this was happened in the cultures where the spoken and about the tobaccos. This number hasn't just satisfied it. They are reflection of the fear of the insulated woman faces due to the cultural judgment. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, TC03. You may please leave the meeting and wait for further instructions. And while the other team joins, I kindly request the judges to please mark the participants. Are both the participants from TC04 here?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So, with the permission of the judges, we shall begin on a countdown of 3, 2, 1. All right?
Yes.
Okay. So, 3, 2, 1, go.
The decision whether or not to bear a child is central to a woman's life. It's a decision that she has to make herself. Now, these are the words of Justice Rath, delivered by him in 1993 in a lecture in a US university. A very good afternoon to respective judges, the marvelous moderators, and all those who are lending their ears to us today. I, Speaker 1 of Team Code 04, along with my co-speaker, are grateful here to be presenting our views on the topic, cultural taboos and their impact on women's access to safe abortions. I'll be presenting the first 3 minutes of argument, and my co-speaker will further carry on the discussion. Now, without wasting any time, let's begin with a very simple story. A 17-year-old girl in rural Bihar discovers that she's pregnant. Her school tells her not to return. Her father was supposed to give the signature for her checkup to the clinic, and her mother, helpless, whispers about an Ayurvedic diet. According to her, she knows what to do. Now, if we look this from a very realistic perspective, she has no voice, no safety, no time. Now, this isn't a story from the very past. This is 2025 India. This is an actual case from a small village in rural Bihar. So, if we will look at it from a very legal perspective, abortion has been legal in India since 1971. But legality does not mean accessibility. A law in the pages of a statute book cannot do anything if it's not implemented. It cannot speak for a girl or a woman when society is continuously trying to choke her and to silence her. despite the 2021 amendment to the Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act. Now, I would also like to mention here that India was one of the first countries to bring such a progressive act, which have even granted and expanded the window of 24 weeks to women in special cases. Still, over 8 women die every day due to unsafe abortions. And the reason being very simple, because cultural taboos have wrapped the Indian woman tighter than any law could free them. If we look at the typical Indian household setup, reproduction conversations are even not at all even mentioned in a day-to-day daily activities. A woman's worth is determined through her ability to give birth. An unmarried woman walking into pharmacy to get abortion pills is seen with strange stares. A married woman, even in pain, is told, "Sabar karo, maa banna pavitra hai." I'll not go into these personal stuff. However, we can't even ignore them. We have seen hospitals becoming courtrooms. We have seen doctors becoming judges. And shame is something which has started becoming a sentence. Even if we take example of certain parts of Uttarakhand, where women are often seen consuming boiled Pepsi with ginger and a lot more other things, we can see that these myths have started becoming policies in India. And to conclude, I would just say that culture should never dictate what a woman wants to choose. Now, I'll request the honorable panel to allow my co-speaker to explore and further build on our stance through laws, policies, and thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you so much for building up this solid foundation. Let's now step into the courtroom. The Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act 1971 and its 2021 amendment laid the foundation. Abortions are now allowed up to 20 weeks with one medical practitioner's opinion and up to 24 weeks with two medical practitioners' opinions for survivors of rape, minors, and vulnerable women. Beyond 24 weeks in cases of fetal abnormalities with the medical board's approval. Sounds progressive, right? But the problem is not the letter of law. It's in the spirit of its implementation. Doctors delay, boards hesitate, bureaucracy chokes urgency. The courts have become the last hope. In Mia Santosh Pal versus Union of India, Supreme Court allowed a 24-week termination because the fetus had anencephaly. They recognized the danger to the women's mental health. In Sucha Srivastava's Chandigarh administration, the court reminded us that reproductive autonomy is under the purview of Article 21, the right to life. In Ms. Z was state of Bihar, a rape survivor, HIV positive, was denied abortion due to red tape. Her legal right was destroyed by procedural delay. These are not just cases, these are the cries for help. Each petition is a reminder that a woman should never need a judge to validate her pain. Beyond Indian borders, countries like New Zealand, Canada, and South Africa treat abortion not as a taboo but as a part of public health. No stigma, no shame. India too has made commitments under the Sustainable Development Goals, such as Goal 3.1, reduces maternal mortality rate. Goal 3.7 and Goal 5.6 ensure universal access to reproductive health care and uphold sexual and reproductive rights. Unsafe abortions and stigma stands in direct violation of these global promises. So what must change? Education that normalizes choice, healthcare systems that listen before judging, legal reforms that prioritize autonomy of procedure. Ma'am, if you may allow, with your permission, I seek an extension of 1 minute to wrap up the arguments.
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am. So, what do we need for change? Education that normalizes choice, healthcare systems that listen before judging, legal reforms that prioritize autonomy of procedure, culture changes that let women lead their own way of life, because we know women should have to choose between dignity and survival. With this, we would like to press arguments and thank the honorable panel and everyone else for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, TC04. I request you both to please leave the meeting. I would like to ask the judges that we will require a few minutes remarks to participants before we begin the closing remarks and give the feedback of what the participants as well.
Can you just repeat it? I did not.
Ma'am, do you require a few minutes, probably 5 minutes or so, before to mark the participants before we begin the closing remarks and the feedback session?
Yes, I do.
All right, ma'am. Then we'll begin at 4. We'll begin at 4:45 if that's fine with all three of you. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Um, I would like to ask all the three judges if they are ready to begin.
I am ready.
We are ready.
Aishwarya ma'am, are you ready?
Yes.
All right. So first of all, thank you everyone for joining. This brings us to the end of the preliminary round of the MLRC-WICCI Elocution competition. First and foremost, a heartfelt thank you to all the participants for your incredible performances today. Each of you brought a unique perspective, passion, and thoughtful insight on a topic that is not only sensitive but deeply significant: cultural taboos and their impact on women's access to safe abortions. Your words sparked meaningful reflection and highlighted the power of legal awareness and advocacy through speech. We would also like to extend our sincere gratitude to our respected judges for their time and attention. Now that all our participants have rejoined, we would like to take this opportunity to invite our esteemed panel of judges to kindly share their observations and remarks. We have uh, their remarks on the performances we have witnessed today. I would request Pooja ma'am to give her remarks to the participants first.
Yes, thank you so much. Can I just see all the faces? Like I have a team-wise responses to give, if it's possible.
Ma'am, do you want everyone to turn on their camera?
No, I want everyone to turn on their camera.
All right. I request every participant and every member here to turn on their cameras, please.
It just helps me to remember your arguments, that's all. Okay, in case no one is comfortable, is anybody switching on their cameras? So in general, I just want to talk to all of you, all the team members, about one basic thing that we call in feminist literature and also in research work, we call intersectionality, right? And all of you spoke very beautifully about abortion and about how it is related to gender, and then how culture intersects to sort of create this facade where we also think of this act as progressive, but then there are loopholes in it, and then how culture is used as a tool to still subjugate women, which all of you brilliantly understood. My only request next time going forward, whoever does or doesn't, that does not matter, but going forward, whenever you are thinking about certain things like abortion or anything really, and when you are talking about gender, you can't just play gender and then leave. So what intersectionality basically does is the culture, gender, caste, class, all the structures and all institutions that fundamentally makes a society what it is, and it is different for different, like west mein there are different parameters on which a society functions. India mein there are different. So whenever you're talking about these things, just make sure that you talk and understand concepts keeping in mind all these aspects, so that will give you a better understanding of the society and of what you are also talking. Second, as an activist also, I would just again urge that we move beyond understanding abortion rights as just women's rights, and also will probe everyone to think about the history of abortion in India. So a lot of you said that abortion NPP Act is a progressive act. Sure, it helps a lot of women and is a tool for a lot of women, but also sort of think about the history, where it comes from and how has it been used, even for women, even women who are terminating their pregnancies. How are they doing it? Why are they doing it? And what are the cultural forces behind this decision, right? So these are some of the things that I would like all of you to think of when you go forward. But other than that, congratulations, all of you did so well. And I'm so happy to see people talk about these things. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for your wonderful words. Now, I would like to request Aishwarya ma'am to give her remarks to all the participants.
Okay, thank you. Am I audible? Okay, fine.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, first of all, thank you so much, Maharashtra Legal Rights Consortium, for this opportunity. And so moving to the judgment, I think what to say. Generally, if I would say that from first team to the last team, it's kind of the first team. I think TZ01, right? The first speaker. I think she has that flow, right? What to say? It is naturally flowing, like the content. I mean, she's prepared with her content, and it's kind of flowing. And the same is to like TZ03, like the flow of what to say when you this kind of competition, when you judge for the flow of content, it's there. So it's kind of you are listening to a story or something like. I'm not sure whether the other judges, Puva ma'am and Vedika ma'am, has the same opinion. Like these two speakers, I really want to mention I don't know their name, but it's TC01, the first speaker, and also TC03, the third team, the first speaker of the third team, and I think TC0401. I think the way these people, they had the way they arrange their content, it's kind of the structure. I could feel the kind of flow in their content. And what I feel like, the missing part, so I would say the missing part, what I personally feel, okay, that is when you talk about this, you actually, mention the rural-urban divide, the policies, the existing policies, and also the socio-cultural norms. So you could also touch upon that area, that is the religious aspect. Like that, there is actually the problem actually, like when we talk about the moral compass, the issue actually rooted in the moral, the religious aspect, that is sanctity of life versus reproductive rights. So that is again the sanctity of life that is being, again, it's kind of a loop. The end is in the religious aspect, like how it all started, or I think you are getting what I'm saying, right? That area you could add, okay, like the cultural, social. So that portion, that religious thought, or that is being gradually developed into a custom or form. Later we are following it as a custom, or the social cultural norm. So the religious aspect needs to be there. That is the primary source of the primary source of all problems. I'm not saying that it isn't the only source of the problem, but definitely it actually has a more weight when we consider this kind of an issue. When we talk about the rights of, I think when we talk about any rights of women, the the reproductive rights, or when we talk about women rights, it's something there. When from religion to religion, they have their own version to define this, the morality, or the to fix the religion actually plays a crucial role to fix the moral compass for women. That would I personally believe, and I personally understood. So you need to mention that aspect. Like I know you don't have much time, just I think 5 minutes. So within that time, I think you all did justice to your to this competition, but still you could touch upon that part as well. Then what I feel is that you all mentioned about the legal aspects, the policies and all, but I don't find anyone mention the gaps are there, but highlighting the gaps and also ending your arguments, okay, a closing remarks saying that, okay, these are the existing legal policies that we have, and these are our recommendations, or something that we personally find, or at the end of our study, or at the end of our research, this is what the suggestions that we are putting forward towards to this issue, or as something which could probably can tackle this issue. So the suggestion part, so you could probably end your closing arguments with your suggestions that you could derive from the end of your study. So that connection, the starting remark and the opening remark, and the structured flow, and at the end of your
closing it with a suggestion or recommendation from your part how to address this issue. We are not saying that okay, these are the legal policies and these are the gaps. We also need to mention okay, what to say, the how we need to tackle this issue as well, right? So that link needs to be there. So that's how it started. I mean, it should be started and it should end. So I think I somewhere found that is missing in most of the teams, but still you all try to add all the, what to say, the contents and the legal areas, the rural urban divide, and what to say, socio-cultural norms. Then what to say, I think you try to touch about all these areas which are connected with this issue, right? So that's what I personally, I mean, what I found, what I feel from your presentation. And congratulations to all the participants. I think you all did your best. Okay, so congratulations and best wishes for the finals. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your remarks. Now I would like to request Vedika ma'am for the remarks to all the participants.
Hi everyone. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
So firstly, thank you to MLRC for choosing a very burning and pertinent topic, which is quite in news in the, when it comes to the recent judgments passed by the High Courts and the Supreme Court. And so when it comes to an elocution competition, I personally feel that there are a few things that are very important when you are speaking and which you should take note of, especially when you have a very limited time frame to present your arguments. Firstly, which I noticed in 3 speakers, and I would like to point them out, that's TC1 speaker 1, TC2 speaker 2, and TC3 speaker 1, is that all of you started in a very attention grabbing manner, and that engaged me, because as soon as you started speaking, I was like, okay, I want to listen to what this person has to say more about the topic. And that is the very first thing that is important when it comes to elocution. And also the second thing is voice modulation. So when you're speaking about something as serious as this topic, even if it's not a serious topic, even if it's something which you're just generally talking about, focusing on the important points and making sure that the person who's listening to you focuses on what you're saying and understands your point of view, then raising your voice a little, or modulating it in such a fashion just to make sure that the audience is engaged and they listen to what you have to say. Further, one thing that I noticed also was few speakers focused more on the legal aspect of this theme, less on the cultural aspect, because you were touching upon that, yes, there are, cultural taboos and, it's considered as a sin, etc. But when you research and you read about this topic, there are several more things. For instance, there is something known as secondary infertility also, which is a very good argument when you talk about this. That is basically when culture tries to instill this in you, that if you get a child, if you get the fetus aborted, then you might become infertile for later when you get married, etc. So these were a few things which I felt, as Aishwarya also said, that you could have added more of the religious aspect. And of course I understand in 5 minutes it's very tough and to get it in one go, but otherwise I feel that everybody did a very good job. And one thing that I want to mention to TC3 is that you people were very good, but you were very fast. So to catch up on what you're speaking, I had to lean in, but otherwise very good. And the way you started with a personal anecdote, and so these are certain things which are very important in an elocution competition. So as whichever team makes it to the semi-finals and the finals, you can note these things down, because after all, it's not a debate, it's an elocution competition, and those are the things you should focus more on, and of course your arguments. But this is what I have to say, and you can take these few pointers going forward. So congratulations and all the best.
Thank you so much, ma'am. So, a very big thank you to our honorable judges for taking the time to be with us today and for sharing such insightful and constructive feedback. Your words will undoubtedly help guide and inspire our participants as they continue their journey through the competition and beyond. Further, to all the participants, I would like to tell you that the results of today's round and the details of the semi-finals for day 2 to be held tomorrow will be shared shortly by around 7 p.m. on the WhatsApp group, since it will take us some time to collate all the results. Further, I would like to congratulate all those who made to the semi-final in advance for your outstanding performance, and we look forward to seeing you back tomorrow with even more confidence and conviction. And to those who did not qualify this time, we want to extend our heartfelt appreciation. Your efforts, research, and passion were truly commendable. The very act of participating in such a meaningful dialogue is a mark of growth, and we hope to see you again in future editions of this platform. Before we conclude, we would like to take a moment to express our sincere gratitude to our mentors, Vaishnavi ma'am, Adrika ma'am, and Divya ma'am for their unwavering support, guidance, and leadership throughout the planning and execution of this event. Wishing each one of you a continued success in all your future endeavors. And thank you once again, and we hope you had a rewarding experience today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.